Pragyanam Brahm. Second Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi. And I told you that is from Yajurved, and Upanishad, which this is from, is Brihad Aryanak Upanishad. That is the name of the Upanishad. I am Brahma. Okay. The third Mahavakya, Tat Tvamasi, which is mentioned in this verse. Tat Tvamasi. But then he says Adi. Adi means the other three also. You are that. That is from Chandogya Upanishad in Samved. Okay. And the fourth one is Ayam Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. This is stated in the Mandukya Upanishad in Atharva Ved. In one of these classes, we will start Mandukya Upanishad also. That is on my list of books, next books to be done. So then I mentioned not this and not this, because that's what is mentioned in the second line of this verse. Neti neti shruti briyat. So neti neti, and I was telling you that this is a process of negation or elimination. That's something which it's not. They are trying to see what Atma is. So they say this is not the Atma, this is not the Atma. Okay? Because we can perceive only through the senses or through this Panchabhut Sharir. But Atma cannot be perceived with the senses. Atma never feels the pain, never suffers injury. So that's why these rishis, they said, this is not Atma, neti neti. Okay, so this is what we discussed last week towards the end of the class. So any question? So let's start with the verse number 26 today.
हर्षी एक वर्ड का मीनिंग दोबारा से बता दो, प्रतिपादित जो पहली लाइन है on 25 पे.
Pratipadita means stated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, stated. Atmani ev atmanah sarvam tavya purnam nirantaram dhyata dhyanam na techitam nirlajam dhyate katham. Atmani, in the self. Ev means really. Atmanaha, by the self. Sarvam means all. Tavya, by you. Purnam, perfect. Nirantaram, continuously. Dhyata means meditator. Dhyanam means meditation. Na means not. Te is yours. Chittam, the mind, the deeper part of mind. Chit. Nirlajam, shamelessly. Dhyayate, meditate upon. Katham means how. So Dattatreya is saying, truly, everything in this universe is filled through and through by your Atma alone. Purnam Nirantaram. So everything in this universe is filled through and through by your Atma alone. Thus, there is no meditator or meditation in your mind. How is it that you are meditating without any sense of shame? Shame. There could be a chance of misunderstanding with this utterance of this word shame. People might think that meditation is useless. That is not true. The purpose of a meditation is illumination. And Dattatreya ji, he was a knower of Brahma. And he instructed from the level of that realization. So his idea is that a human being by nature is free. And when we are meditating, that means we have shamefully forgotten our real nature. So he's not saying don't meditate, but anytime we have forgotten who we are, we need to meditate. So he says forgetfulness is a shame. Not a meditation is a process is not shameful. Remember that. Similar kind of lessons we learned in Ashtavakra Gita also. So we got to see from which standpoint the teacher is talking about. Okay, so anytime we forget who we are, Atma is one with the Brahma. It's only but this Atma, and we forget, and we need to meditate, and it's shameful that we have forgotten who we are. Then he says, Shivam na janami, katham vadami, Shivam na janami, katham bhajami, aham Shivaha chet paramarth tattvam sam swarupam gagan upamam cha. See, some of these verses are written so beautifully, poetically, that you like to sing these. And this is one of them. Shivam. Shivam means supreme or bliss. That's what Shivam means. Na means not, janami, I know. Katham, how. Vadami, I say. Again, in the second line, Shivam means bliss. Na means not. Janami, I know. Katham, how. Bhajami, I worship. Aham, I am. Shivaha, bliss. Chet, if. Paramartham, supreme truth. Paramartha, supreme truth. Tattvam, reality, essence. Sam means equanimity. Swarupam, true nature. Gagan is the sky or the space. Upamam, like that. See, upama means simile, like that. Cha means and. How can I speak of or worship that supreme beatitude, which I do not know as an object of knowledge? So that means this absolute, this God, the true nature, is not an object. So how can I speak of or worship that supreme, which I do not know as an object of knowledge? For I myself am that supreme beatitude, the ultimate reality, which is full by nature and all pervading like space. So again, he's talking from that standpoint where he doesn't see any difference between him and the Supreme. It's just one. In order to talk about something or in order to worship somebody, there got to be two. He says, all I see is one. How can I talk about God, the absolute, and how can I worship God? It's not other than me. It's all one. Na aham tattvam samam tattvam kalpana hetu varjitam grahe grahak Nirmuktam swasamvedyam katham bhavet. Na means not aham I am. Tattvam essence. Samam even. Again tattvam means essence. Kalpana imagination. Hetu intention or purpose. Hetu. Varjitam devoid of. Grahe realizer. Grahak that which is perceived. Nirmuktam liberated or free. Swa samvedyam which is aware of the self. Swa means self. Samvedyam is also can be understood as knowledge of the self. Katham how bhavet could it be? He says, I am not the cosmic principles. I am that self same reality which is devoid of inference and reasoning and free from subject and object. How can I know myself? See, what are the cosmic principles? We have learned the Sankhya philosophy. According to the Sankhya philosophy, there are 24 cosmic principles. And you are familiar with those, but let me go over it again. The first one is called Prakriti, the primordial nature, Prakriti. Second one is called Mahat, cosmic intelligence. And we are none of these. Okay, these are only the Tattva. Mahat, cosmic intelligence. Then comes the Ahankar, third one, the ego sense. Manas, the mind, fourth one. Then comes those 5 organs of perception. Hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell. Those 5. So this is number 5 through 9. I'm just giving you all 24. Then 5 organs of actions. Tongue, hands, feet, and the organs of evacuation and generation. Okay, so this is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So up to 14. So 5 organs of action. Then comes 5 tanmatras. Okay, so it's a sound potential, touch potential, sight potential, taste potential, and smell potential. It's like an energy behind these 5 tanmatras. So this takes you up to the number 19. Then comes the 5 gross elements. Space, air, fire, water, earth. So these are the 24. When he says, Na aham tattvam, I'm not these elements. Who am I? I am the knower of Brahma. And when we say I am the knower of the Brahma, you destroy the idea of oneness. You are the Brahma. Because even this idea that I am knower of the Brahma, it originates from ignorance. Because you didn't know. And you still think there too. Who will see whom and who will know whom when there's only one? This is the ultimate mystery. Science cannot solve this ultimate mystery. This mystery of this nature.
Hersh, can you repeat it one more time?
Which one? Where are you? These you got all these 24, right?
After that,
I said that if we say
who is who and like that.
Yeah. Who will see whom? If you are saying that I know Brahma or I see Brahma, it's still, according to Dattatreya ji, this is still ignorance. Because ultimately, who will see whom and who will know whom? In order to know somebody, there got to be duality. So he is taking us to that oneness. Because this is like the ultimate. When the dissolution has happened, it's just like a oneness now. The most penetrating eye cannot see itself anymore than a working instrument can work itself. Okay, we got to remember that. Then in the next verse, he says, Anantarupam na hi vastuhu kinchit tatvaswarupam na hi vastu kinchit Atma ek rupam parmarth tattvam na hinsako vapi na cha api ahinsa. Anant, unlimited, infinite, that's Anant. Rupam, form. Na means not, he is therefore. Vastu, thing. Kinchit, anything at all. Tattva, essence of reality. Swarupam, of nature. Na means not, he means therefore. Vastu, thing. Kinchit, anything at all. Atma, self. Ek means one. Rupa means form. Paramartha, supreme reality. Tattvam, real. Na means not. Hinsako, injurious. Hinsa word is for violence. So hinsako, it could be a violent person or injurious. Va api, and also. Na means not. Cha means and. Api also. Ahinsa, non-violence. Okay, so hinsako and ahimsa. An object cannot be infinite by nature. Okay, this is we all understand that. Anything which is object, it is not infinite. Only the subject can be infinite. Object cannot be infinite by nature. Matter cannot be reality itself. Truly, the Atma alone is the supreme reality. It is neither injurious nor non-violent. Neither injurious nor non-violent. We saw this in Bhagavad Gita also. In Kathopanishad also. In Kathopanishad, in the first chapter, it is said that if the killer thinks he kills, and if the killed person thinks he is killed, neither of these apprehend. Right? The self kills not, nor is it killed. So from that standpoint, Dattatreya ji has added this verse over here. Atma ek rupam parmarth tattvam na hinsako va api na api ahinsa. hurting somebody or being hurt by somebody, it's not a language of the Atma. And sometimes we even go deep down to that, no, God hurt us. How can God hurt us? God doesn't hurt us. God doesn't punish us. Okay? Even we cannot hurt anybody. We, in the real sense, our Atma cannot. If we think that we are hurting somebody or somebody is hurting us, we are only looking at it at a objective level, not from a subjective viewpoint. Vishuddha asi samam tattvam videham ajam avyam vibhramam katham atmarthe vibhrantaha aham katham punah. Vishuddha, very pure. See, Shuddha means pure, Vishuddha, very pure. Asi, you are. Samam, same or even. Tattvam, essence. Videham, bodiless. Ajam, unborn. Avyam, indestructible, immutable. Vibhramam, deluded. Katham, how? Atmarthe, for the sake of self. So in the relation to the self, Atmarthe, Vibhrantaha, deluded. Aham, I am. Katham, how? Punha means again. So he's very strongly declaring it for us. You are that pure. Extremely pure. Bodiless. That means there's no form. Unborn. Imperishable. Unchanging reality. How can there be any confusion relating to the Atma? So he's just very directly putting a question to us. You are that, and how come you are so confused? What made you so confused? How can there be any confusion relating to the Atma? And again, how can you say I am confused?
Hershey,
Which you are can never be confused. Yes, somebody has a question?
I have a question, Hershey.
Sure.
You know, when you say subjective is the only, like, I'm a little confused about how sometimes we use the word subjective. You know, कहते हैं ना कि this is your subjective opinion. This is not very, you're not being very objective. You're being very subjective. But here, the subjective is totally different.
Yeah, over here, philosophically, subject is who you are. Object is anything else.
Anything else.
Yes. So understand the philosophy with this definition. Okay. So we are using the language to learn, really understand something which is beyond language.
So those are totally two different things,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So just over here, subject is who you are.
Okay.
Object is anything else.
Okay. So these are not even related, actually.
Yes,
Now.
exactly. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So let's look at number 31. Ghate bhinne ghatakasham sulinam bhedvarjitam shiven manasaha shuddhna bhedaha pratibhati me. Ghate. Ghat over here means a jar or a jug. So ghate means in a jug or a jar. Bhinne, broken, destroyed. Ghat akasham, the akash in that jug, that means the space in that jar. Sulinam, fully merged. Sulin, immersed. Again, bhed means distinction. Varjitam, devoid, Shivain with supreme, Mansaha with mind. Shuddh means pure, Na means not, Bhedaha distinction, Pratibhati appears, seems, Me means to me. When the jug is broken, the jug space, that is the space contained in the jug, becomes completely unified with the undifferentiated space, right? So that space inside becomes one, or it seems one. It was always one, but now it seems one with that space outside. So also, when the mind becomes purified, it is united with the supreme beatitude. This no diversity is perceived by me. So by doing this, by purifying the mind, by dropping the layers of this personality, this soul who I am, it was always one with the super soul or the absolute or God, but it just seemed that there was a covering on it. That covering you have removed, and it seems one then. So these verses, they clearly tell us what do we need to do. What is the sadhana about? Purifying our mind, and then non-attachment to this mind, non-identification with this mind. It's not that, oh, I have such a pure mind, I have better mind than yours. No, non-identification with the mind also. In mind over here, we are talking about the complete mind, not just a man alone. Man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, all these four. The subtle body which is called. Okay, so otherwise this Atma is, see, just take your mind back to those lectures where we talked about the Panchakosh. See, those Panchakosh, they keep the Atma, individualized Atma, separate from the universal self. So over here, he is telling us that you are none of that. You are that Shuddh, Vishuddh Atma. And you have to just drop all these layers. And dropping of the layers only can happen if they are pure. Impure layers can never be dropped. So that's why purity is needed. And for purity, we learn a lot of different levels of sadhana, right? Whether we take care of it through meditation or through watching our thought processes. Do we stay angry? Do we get jealous? Is our ego getting a hold of ourselves? So we need to just work on that. That's all sadhana. And then again, if the physical body is not pure, very hard to work on the mind initially. Sure, ultimately, when we can really detach from the body could be sick, but still we are very calm. But otherwise, at our level, if the body is sick, it affects the mind. So that's why the yogis, they said, do Hatha Yoga also. Make sure you are a master of this body, so that your energy is not being wasted thinking about and worrying about the body. And you can work on the mind. Real sadhana is about the mind.
Hershji,
Yes, Prem.
could you kindly please name those five characteristics
Five
of the
koshas, yeah. Those five koshas are 5 layers of our personality. They are
Hanji.
called the Anme Kosh, the food sheath, Pranme Kosh, the energy sheath, Manome Kosh, the thought sheath, Vigyan Me sheath, the intelligence sheath, and then Anandamay Kosh. Anandamay Kosh is the ignorance sheath actually. That is the causal body. Deep sleep. We are ignorant about everything. And we do feel Anandit there. We got the rest. Okay? So there's a rest, but you really don't know who you are though. That rest doesn't come from knowing the Atma. That rest comes because there's no agitation from the outside. Even mind is sleeping. There's no agitation from the mind either.
Can you please tell me where I can learn a little bit more about these?
I think we do have Wednesday's class notes, but we can talk about it again in some other class. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just right now, remember these are called 5 sheets, and we are not these. We are the
Okay.
energy which enlivens these sheets.
Okay.
Energy. That means the Atma. The Atma which enlivens this body. That's who we are. And once all these sheets are broken down, and that's what he's talking about over here, when the mind becomes purified, it is united with the Supreme.
With the Supreme. Okay.
No diversity is perceived by me. Okay. So then further he says in number 32,
Thank you.
Na ghat akashaha, na jivaha, jivaha vigraha, kevalam brahma, samvidhi vedye vedak varjitam. Well, you see that how easy this Sanskrit is. Okay, especially if you break it down, you know these words already. Na means no, ghat means the jug. Again, no, na is no. Ghat akash, the space in the jug. Jivaha, individual soul. Vigraha, form. Kevalam, absolute unity, keval. That means there's only one. Keval means only one. Brahm, samvidhi, no. Vedya, knowable. Vedak, knower. Varjitam, devoid. So now he's saying that distinctions such as jar and jar space, individual body and individual soul, do not exist in Brahma. So there are no parts in the Brahma. See, in our own personality, sometimes we think that, oh no, I have arms and I have legs. I have a mind and intellect and the heart and all that. He says these distinctions, they do not exist in Brahma. Realize that absolute Brahma, which neither is knowable nor can be made known. Anything we know, how do we know something? We know something through our intelligence, which is part of the Prakriti. So that means we have gone little away from that oneness. So he says you cannot know that. See, that's why those rishis, what did they say? They said it's only one. Again and again they are saying that. So then in number 33, he says, Sarvatra Sarvadaha.
So Hershey, so in one way, we are saying, even though we are supreme, but we are really not one until our mind is purified, and until we take care of all these separating elements.
See, this is what he's talking about over here in this scripture, the ultimate level of realization.
Oneness.
So from that point of view, he's talking about.
Right.
So that's why he says, hey, this is like a higher philosophy than even the book we studied last.
Right.
So that's why he's just making very profound statements like this. Sometimes our ego doesn't like to hear this.
Yeah.
Ego is the one which doesn't, or somebody says, oh, I am better than others. I am more intelligent than others. You don't like to hear that we are all one. So just keep this in mind, that who is saying it and to whom this great teacher is saying it. Okay. So
we have the potential of
we are not just a potential, we are. In reality, we are this.
In
But we
reality.
have forgotten it.
But we have all these layers that we have to remove.
We think we have the layers. Actually, those layers are not permanent.
That's what I
Permanent
mean.
only I am. We just
have
give
to-
too much importance to the layers. Just like we pay too much importance to our accomplishments. So he is bringing our attention towards the real us. It's
So
not a potential. We are this.
but we have these coverings that we need to do sadhana and remove
Yeah,
this.
sadhana we have to do, but keeping in mind that we are the Atma.
Right. We have to keep both aspects in mind.
Yeah, we got to keep this in our mind when we do the sadhana, that I am this. So how come I don't know this yet?
And then
How
also the fact that I have to work at it.
Yes, yes. By keeping this in mind that I am the Atma.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So this is what he is just again and again he is pounding it on in our brains.
That know who you are, but you have to work.
Yes.
Thank you.
So sarvatra sarvadaha sarvam atmanam sattam dhruvam sarvam shunyam ashunyam cha tat mam vidhi na sanshaya. Sarvatra, everywhere. Sarvada, at all times. Sarvam, all forms. Atmanam, self alone. Satatam, eternal. Dhruvam, unmoving or immovable. Dhruvam. Sarvam, all. Shunyam, void, non-existent. Ashunyam, existent. See, shunya, ashunya, opposite of that. Cha means and, tat means that, mam to me, vidhi, realize. No. No means not, sanshya, doubt. Because sometimes doubts come in our mind. So he says, do not doubt this. Lord Krishna used that the same kind of a phrase again and again in Bhagavad Gita too. The Atma exists always, everywhere and in everything. It is eternal and unchanging. Everything in this world is void. And again, it is filled with the Atma. Realize, I am that Atma. Very clearly, he is telling us. See, something he is calling void, non-existent, we think that is existent. All this anatma we think is Atma. And Atma we have ignored. Not only the Atma which is right here, Atma everywhere else also. When we put somebody down, when we insult somebody, when we cheat somebody, what are we doing? We are insulting God. Insulting the Atma. So he says, realize I am that Atma and do not doubt this. No sanshaya. Do not doubt this.
Harshji, can
Yes.
you explain this part, non-existent, and then he says existent. So non-existent, the void that you said,
Yeah.
the void, when it is filled with Atma, then it's not void. Which way are we looking at it?
What we are
Like,
saying is void of the objects.
oh,
Okay. But it is filled with the Brahman.
my book says non-existent is the phenomenal aspect of being which has now disappeared. So I didn't understand that also.
Yeah, phenomenal world. He's talking about all these phenomena which we see,
But
anatma which we see.
and which have now disappeared. What does he mean by that?
That means when we meditate, it disappears.
Okay.
For a meditator, a person who has become one with Brahma, this doesn't even exist.
Okay.
This phenomenal world has disappeared for that person.
Hmm.
Just like for a little child, toys are there. Adult will go to the toy room, but toys don't attract him.
Mhm.
The same way, these temporary things are there. But a yogi sees only the God. It's filled with Atma everywhere, Brahm with Atma everywhere. Anything else doesn't even exist for that
Yes.
person.
Okay.
Okay? So
Thank
in
you.
that sense, I know it can get confusing, these terms over here, but basically what he's trying to tell us, that remember, you are Atma, everybody else is Atma. That is the real thing. There's nothing but that. And it's all blissful. It's not that if we start thinking that God is everywhere and start being afraid of God.
So,
So he
Hershey,
mentioned earlier, no hinsa. God doesn't hurt anybody. God is all loving. We are in the lap or at the feet of God. Yes, Manju.
yeah. So I know, as you have always said, that describing that God is impossible with words and language.
Yes.
So I mean, yes, I'm not realized, I'm not closer, but taking your word as a realized guru, you speak and you have taught us for so many years, and we have faith in that. So that concept is understandable, not experienced, but sometimes these words do get confusing.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
don't need
That's
to
why we have
fall.
these classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't
And
need to
that's
fall in that trap. We
Yeah.
understand that part, that yeah, whatever we are seeing, it is temporary. That's why we call it unreal, because
Yes.
it keeps changing.
Yes.
The one
Yes.
that doesn't change the essence, that's what God is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's everywhere
And
and all the
that's what
time.
we have to experience, the
Yeah.
unchanging. We have
Right.
experienced the changing quite a bit.
Changing.
Several lives we've been experiencing changing part of us, or if you want to call objective part of us. But now time has come. If we are so serious about studying something like this, we need to experience the unchanging part, and which is everywhere. Because if this great teacher is telling us, so we got to, that's why he says, don't have a doubt about it. Because of the doubts, we just don't do the sadhana. Okay? So don't have a doubt. Just keep on doing what you are supposed to do. And remember, it's God is everywhere. It's only God. And we are part of that. To me, I think that's very comforting, very consoling. That is only God. See, we have taken a shelter of something which is not even stable. It could be the money, it could be the position, it could be our body, it could be anything which is not stable by itself. Sure, we want to feel stable, we want to feel secure, but it's almost like we are standing on a rock which itself is becoming a dust every minute. So we got to stand on this truth. Then there will be a stability. Okay, so let's if no question, then we're going to meditate for 5 minutes or so. But if there is a question, sure, go ahead, because I understand that even though we have studied something like this in other scriptures also, still it gets some questions do come. So but we'll end the class always with the meditation though. That's important because I want you to get into the habit of meditating every day, at least once a day. And see if you can make a promise that next 6 months you are going to meditate daily, no matter what. And what do I always say? If you skip a day, your 6 month will start from that day, right? So remember that. So please do it every day. And this meditation after this class does not count for today's meditation. This is just a reminder. Okay? So either do it in the morning or evening, whatever time works for you, but meditate. And no sleeping meditation, please. Some people say, no, I'm lying down in the morning, I'm meditating. No, sitting up meditation. Spine has to be straight. You can sit on the chair, sit on this, on a cushion. Okay, wherever you want to sit, that's fine, but make sure that back is straight. Okay.
Hershey, should I pause the recording before
Yeah,
meditation
pause
then?
the recording now. Yes, yes, I'm gonna play that Om chanting. Just
I can pause anytime. Okay.
yeah, just pause that or stop that. Okay, nobody has a question, I assume. So I'll just play this Om chanting and we'll meditate. Make sure your back is straight, shoulders relaxed, facial muscles relaxed, eyes closed. Oh.